Hello, everybody. I'm Teresa Woodard in Dallas, and here are your headlines from North Texas. 2 triathletes on a training ride in Denton County were hit and killed by a vehicle this weekend. The Frisco Triathlon Club identified the victims as Andre Coker and Scott Magus. Pilot Point police say the 2 men were taking part in a group bicycle ride along FM 455 just east of Fritcher Road when that crash happened. Police say they are investigating. We are still waiting to learn more details after Dallas police officers say they shot and killed a murder suspect. This happened just before noon Saturday on the service road right outside of Town East Mall in Mesquite. Brittany Costello has the latest from police and reaction from shoppers.
It is the last thing last-minute shoppers expected to see this Saturday before Christmas.
Oh my gosh, really?
Police unsuccessfully tried to save a person who was shot near the parking lot of Town East Mall in Mesquite. A witness shared this video with us from the scene.
I can only just imagine how the shoppers are probably panicking when they heard the shots outside, you know?
Dallas police say it happened during a traffic stop around noon when they tried to pull over a person they believed committed a crime earlier in the day in Dallas.
The suspect exited the vehicle armed, and as a result, there was an exchange of gunfire.
Dallas police say they tracked that suspect from the scene of a deadly shooting this morning where a woman was killed. It happened here along Markville Drive, about 20 minutes from Town East Mall.
People who live in the area say they saw police tape and investigators inside a gated community. Police did not say where it happened, and they would not answer any questions.
It's really hectic over here.
But people out shopping say they felt uneasy not knowing.
It's crazy. I'm lost for words, really. I'm kind of speechless about it, but it's a tragedy overall, most importantly.
Dallas police say Mesquite will take over the investigation of the deadly shooting involving Dallas police officers.
At this time, it's an active and ongoing investigation. I can tell you that we'll be investigating it just as we would our own officer-involved shootings, and we will release further details as they may become available.
In Mesquite, I'm Brittany Costello.
Last week, President Donald Trump declared fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. Now, the new head of the DEA's Dallas division is laying out his plan to confront that drug. Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez sat down with Special Agent in Charge Joseph Tucker for an exclusive one-on-one interview.
It's the deadliest drug the DEA says it's ever encountered. Just 2 milligrams can kill you. The fentanyl crisis is not new, but the leadership overseeing the fight here in North Texas is. Joseph Tucker is now the special agent in charge of the DEA's Dallas division, and one of his first priorities is confronting the fentanyl crisis. The drug is everywhere.
That is scary when you see an increase in the powder version of it that can be laced in anything.
That shift, Tucker says, makes fentanyl even more dangerous because users often don't know what they're taking.
The scary thing is it could be one time and it could cost a life. And still, fentanyl is the leading cause of death for Americans between the age of 18 and 45.
As he takes over the Dallas division, Tucker says his focus is strengthening enforcement across North Texas and Oklahoma, which he says remains a hub with drugs moving through the region before spreading across the country.
The primary route is through Mexico here across the southwest border.
While Mexico is the primary trafficking route, Tucker says much of the fentanyl's chemical origin still traces back to China.
We're going to try to disrupt the fentanyl supply chain.
This comes as the president has formally designated illicit fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. In recent months, the Trump administration has launched military strikes near Venezuela aimed at suspected drug trafficking boats. Administration officials have claimed some of those boats contain cocaine and fentanyl, though they have not publicly released detailed evidence or seizure data confirming fentanyl or any drugs were on those boats. Federal drug data and experts note the majority of fentanyl still comes through the southern border. Tucker did not weigh in on the designation or military action, instead pointing to what the DEA is focused on here at home.
And that's why we launched Fentanyl Free America, to protect the United States from synthetic opioids by targeting and disrupting the fentanyl supply chain, reducing its availability, and saving American lives.
The scope of the problem remains enormous. While the fight over policy is far from settled, the risk to families is clear. One pill can kill. In Dallas, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
Three sisters are shattering the norm, having just committed to play college basketball together. Jobin Puniker shows us how they are capitalizing on their chemistry and why they decided to play side by side.
So we're going to do a lot of reps.
It is hard enough to get one athletic scholarship to college.
Do not take that for granted.
The appropriately named Jordans have done that plus two.
This hasn't been done in history, so I'm just glad that I'm doing it with them.
Melania, Natalia, and Gianna are three sisters.
Boom! Mama taught you right.
Three seniors, three highly touted basketball guards.
Right into it, dribble into it, good.
Here at Kingdom Collegiate Academy in Dallas.
We have the chemistry that nobody else has. We've been doing it since like a young age. 4, 5.
In November, all three committed and signed to play together in Lubbock at Texas Tech.
I had the vision, she helped me execute it, and it was more like we executed it, but it was God.
They got many college offers, individually and together.
Pop out, pop out, pop out.
But Texas Tech felt like the right fit for everyone.
Came here for the girls to really have a feel of family, and that's what we feel at Texas Tech too.
Right when we stepped on campus, it just felt like home.
They could not pass up the chance, pun intended, to play together in college.
I'm automatically gonna have like friends when I go to college, my best friends.
Their dad, Walsh, played overseas, had a brief stint with the Mavs, but this might be the Jordans' biggest athletic achievement.
We're helping them. We're making them sit in one gym and watch all of us. Cut.
And making a name for themselves in the process. The Jordans took a dream shot and turned it into a three-pointer. In Dallas, I'm Jobin Puniker.
Congrats to them. Those are your headlines from North Texas.
In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. The federal government is threatening to withhold millions from the state of Texas if it doesn't change how it issues commercial driver's licenses. In recent months, the state has revoked commercial driving privileges from thousands of truck drivers. It came after a federal audit found systemic problems in how the state issues those licenses. As KVU's Daniel Perot reports, part of the concern from federal regulators is centered on a deadly crash that happened here in Austin.
In an October letter, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration told Texas a recent audit found systemic problems, outlining nearly 60 cases where DPS allowed CDLs to remain valid years after the driver's ability to be in the country legally expired, in some cases by 4, 6, or even 8 years.
Not only should they not be in the country, they shouldn't have a CDL license driving dismissal, and now they can't read the sign that says, hey, slow down.
It's part of a nationwide review of how states issue CDLs, sparked by deadly commercial vehicle crashes involving immigrants. Trucking safety expert Dale Prax says for too long it's gone unchecked, and Texas is not the only state with issues.
It's really hard for me to even wrap my head around. I just don't know how is this even happening, right?
As of September, more than 9,600 Texas drivers had a non-domiciled commercial driver's license or learner's permit. Those are typically given to those who are temporarily allowed to work in the U.S. According to the audit, federal regulators reviewed 123 CDLs issued between June of last year and August of this year and found just under half did not meet federal standards.
That means every truck we drive by, we have to guess, is that the bad guy or is that the good guy? I don't think that's safe for my grandkids to be on a highway.
The letter cites this March pileup on I-35 in North Austin that killed 5 people. Police say a semi-truck driver failed to brake in traffic. Federal regulators say DPS personnel erroneously issued that driver a standard Texas CDL rather than a non-domiciled license.
For the first time in a long time, there's been real concern about safety on our highways, and I think we're going to see some changes.
If Texas doesn't fix the issue, it could lose $182 million in federal highway funds for 2027. The state has paused issuing non-domiciled commercial learners permits and driver's licenses and has been auditing licenses to ensure they are in compliance. As of December 7th, the state has removed commercial driving privileges from nearly 5,900 people. That number is expected to climb to 6,400 when all notices go out. Daniel Perot, KVUE News, Austin.
Drivers who lost their CDLs are still able to drive their personal vehicles. According to DPS, the agency will consider resuming issuing non-domicile commercial learners permits and driver's licenses once all state and federal requirements are met. Neighbors in one Georgetown community are raising alarms about a trapping program meant to control the deer population. They argue their homeowners association is inhumanely harming and killing animals and not letting neighbors look into alternatives. KVUE reported on a similar situation in Lakeway in 2018 and 2019, where videos of deer trapped in nets sparked controversy. After outrage in the community, the city suspended that program. Now neighbors in Sun City say they're dealing with a similar problem and taking their HOA to court over it. KVUE's Kelsey Sanchez has the story.
Neighbors in the Sun City retirement community say a major reason they moved here was the wildlife.
I didn't spend this kind of money for this view and this area not to be able to enjoy the wildlife that comes with it, which is wonderful.
Linda Barty says she's lived in the area for about 10 years and occasionally wakes up to deer roaming her backyard. For Dave Barry, the sentiment is the same.
It was part of the charm of Sun City.
But they say when they learned their homeowners association fees were going toward what they call an inhumane method to trap white-tailed deer, they were mortified.
We pay for it. We pay for the deer to be trapped, transported, killed, and processed.
The next thing is that they're going to lure the deer here with food for a few weeks. The deer will be comfortable coming here because of the food. Then they'll set up the traps.
According to a lawsuit filed last month by a group of unnamed homeowners, the Sun City Community Association and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department have deemed deer threats to public safety and that the animals engage in property destruction. But neighbors say they take issue with the use of feeders and nets to trap the deer, which they say could lead to the devastation of innocent animals. Similar to a controversy that hit Lakeway several years ago, which attorney Garrett Gibbons says he wants to avoid in Sun City.
There should be an alternative. Instead of, savagely killing these poor animals, let's relocate them. Let's put up fences to kind of fence them in to keep them from running out in the street. Let's do something else besides acting like a bunch of monsters.
Neighbors also claim they've been denied the opportunity to explore other options or be heard. KVUE reached out to the HOA, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, and the city's Wildlife Committee Thursday about the lawsuit. All said they had no comment. Barty says this was a problem in the neighborhood 5 years ago and experienced the trappings firsthand.
I can never get that sound out of my head. I was so upset by that, so traumatized by that.
Barty says she just wants the HOA to explore other options for deer population management so she never has to hear that sound again. In Sun City, Kelsey Sanchez, KVUE News.
And according to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department's website, there is an application process to obtain a permit for deer trapping, which can include using drop nets to capture them. The site mentions the handling and killing of deer must be done in a humane manner. Well, seniors at Bowie High School are hoping to bridge a generational divide and bring senior citizens closer to the action. Students hosted the first ever Senior for Seniors basketball game. Senior citizens from a local retirement community were invited to watch the Bowie Bulldogs face the Dripping Springs Tigers. One organizer says it's important to include them in the community and know that people still care for them.
Obviously, both of our grandparents live far away and they can never come to our basketball games, and after seeing that, we met with some local retirement homes, and we realized how lonely, there's a loneliness pandemic, and there's a disconnect between our generations, and we wanted to bridge the gap between these two generations. And what's something that everyone likes? Sports. And we happen to be on the basketball team, and we thought it'd be a great idea, and the seniors seem to love it, and we want to keep it going.
And the Bulldogs treated the home crowd with a win, beating the Tigers 65-29. One student says they hope this carries on in future classes and even to other schools. Those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Mark Mullins.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier. Let's go ahead and jump right into your Texas headlines because, hey, we passed the first day of winter. It was on Sunday. So what are we looking at for this week? Well, starting off your Monday, that's a lot of 80s and 70s. That's not winter, so I say it's certainly warm for winter. By tomorrow, it's still staying pretty hot. What are we doing? Wednesday is in the same boat? What? We're going to be looking at record-breaking Christmas heat? As a matter of fact, yes, it's certainly warm for this time of year. Yeah, well, I understand. I've lived in Texas long enough that, okay, we tend to cool down the most during January, February, more toward late January, but this is just a little bit much. Well, maybe let's break it down region by region. No, it's still kind of the same deal. Nice and sunny for West Texas throughout your Monday, but then cloud cover starts to build up, but it's not doing a whole lot to impact temperatures. And the same could be said for Central Texas, even South Texas, with Laredo seeing some of those mid-80s. Wow, okay. North Texas, okay, a little bit more mild, but even then East Texas, chance for fog, isolated rain chances throughout the next few days, more so just a sprinkle here and there. Well, the valley is staying hot. Lots of those mid to upper 80s is possible. So, okay, no, it's not just us. It's the entire state and even surrounding states. Louisiana seeing a lot of those very warm temperatures, even southern parts of New Mexico. But that's certainly toasty for December 22nd. Maybe let's move on a little bit more. Nope, still a lot of 70s and 80s. Maybe Wednesday? Okay, starting to calm down a little bit. Hotter spots going to be more towards South Texas, but even Oklahoma, even Arkansas, Mississippi, looking at these abnormally warm temperatures for this time of year. Okay, well, maybe some cloud cover, maybe some rain chances, something to give us at least a little bit of relief. Well, I'm still just actually seeing a couple of those pop up, maybe sea breeze type showers right along the coast, and then a few of them begin to populate along I-35, not necessarily Tuesday, but more so toward Wednesday afternoon and evening, maybe Thursday. Okay, yeah, we're getting into Christmas Day. Oh, what? Noon rain chances? Well, most of us will probably be home at that time, but nonetheless, maybe a pop-up sprinkle here and there. I'm not looking at severe weather, and that is certainly good. The last thing we want to see is severe weather in time for Christmas. Heading into Friday, maybe you got to go back home, go back to work pretty soon, maybe head back to out of state, wherever you need to go. Actually looking pretty good by Friday, nice and dry. So where we do see rain chances, can we see a lot of rain? That is the big question, because that's what's going to lead to a number of travel delays. Well, throughout your Tuesday evening, actually, I'm not even looking at a whole lot, maybe just isolated little sprinkles here and there, and that's exactly what the models were supporting. So why is it so hot? I got high pressure. It's sitting right on top of Texas, extending its way into the Gulf, but I don't see any big time cool downs potentially until Friday morning. Notice this little dip in the jet stream kind of moving its way in from Colorado. That is going to be our next system, and that's when we're going to start to see an increase in rain chances and potentially a decrease in temperatures. Maybe not a decrease in temperatures, because look at this. This is heading into New Year's Eve, well above average for the entire state. What about rain chances? Ooh, okay. It's not a high chance we're going to see some rain, but it's certainly better than what we see throughout much of this week. It's going to stay relatively more hopeful is the better word. Because let's look at that extended forecast for the next 7 days across the state. Okay, lots of 70s and 80s. So maybe let's look into something a bit more specific here. Okay, Amarillo, let's take a look at the Panhandle. We're going all the way from those 80s to maybe a little bit of a breezy cool down heading into Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. Whoa, what is going on Sunday? Okay. Typically, when we see cold fronts come through, the Panhandle is going to get the brunt of it, and that's already being reflected on here. Okay, maybe Austin, Central Texas, not so much going on here. Corpus Christi, DFW seeing that notable cool down really heading into Sunday. Okay, El Paso kind of in the same boat. Houston, a little bit more of a cool down. So it really looks to be Sunday is going to be the day we're paying attention to, where we see that chance for better systems, better cool down potential, and maybe even some decent rain chances extending from San Antonio, even in toward Lubbock. We're going to be keeping our eye on this over the next couple of days, so be sure to stay tuned with us for the latest.
Let's
take a look at today's headlines from Houston. I'm Cheryl Mercedes. It's been nearly 2 weeks since a woman visiting Houston went missing. Police are investigating the disappearance of 24-year-old Sydney Marquez. Her parents tell our Troy Kless they got a frantic phone call saying the Texas A&M graduate was gone.
These parents filled with pride for their youngest daughter, Sydney Marquez. She graduated from Texas A&M with a neuroscience degree.
She was a superstar, bright, fast, crunch numbers in her head.
Raul Marquez emotional, not knowing where his daughter is. She went missing on December 11th. The family from El Paso got a call from friends that Sydney was visiting here in Houston.
Got the car. One in an episode, they called me frantic. Sir, we can't find your daughter. She left at 3:30. The car was found abandoned 11:30.
Abandoned in this parking lot of a tire shop near the intersection of Bel Air and Ranchester. Marquez, last seen wearing gray pants and a gray hoodie, was seen on this surveillance camera walking through the parking lot. After a few minutes, she starts walking down the sidewalk. 9 days later, her family and Texas EquiSearch spent the day canvassing this area of Asiatown. It's believed Marquez, who has had mental health issues, kept walking.
Family says that Sydney's last known location may have been this bus stop at the corner of Harwin and Gessner, though family says that they've already searched near every stop along the route.
Metro Police tells KHOU in part of a statement the department is actively cooperating with HPD by assisting with getting footage from the bus. Raul Marquez is hoping someone remembers seeing his daughter.
The witnesses are saying that they see a young lady that's distraught, walking in circles, keeping to herself. They've offered her blankets.
Hoping his daughter can return home safely.
Sydney, it's Christmas, babe. Let's go home and open some gifts. I love you. Can't wait to hug you.
In Southwest Houston, Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
A suspect in a deadly stabbing at Baytown Sterling High School is being held in jail on a $3 million bond. Prosecutors say 18-year-old Andre Matthews got into a fight with another student last Wednesday over a vape pen. On Friday, hundreds came together to remember and mourn 16-year-old Andrew Meismer at Bicentennial Park in Baytown. Matt Doherty has that part of the story.
Tonight, in the cold, more than 200 teenagers and parents came to this park in Baytown, holding on to candles, holding onto each other.
The reason why we're all wearing clown makeup right now is because he would literally dress up, and for the reason of he wanted to make people smile, and it made him feel good about himself.
16-year-old Ikel Fevrier was Andrew Meismer's girlfriend.
This year, we got together, and I didn't even get to make my 3 months with him or have Christmas with him.
Andrew died on Wednesday after he was allegedly stabbed in the neck with a pair of scissors by another student at a fight at Baytown Sterling High School. Tonight, there was no talk of his accused killer, 18-year-old Andre Matthews, and there was no discussion of safety in school. Tonight, it was all about Andrew.
I'm going to make sure everybody knows my boyfriend's name.
That was Matt Doherty reporting. Meanwhile, earlier that day, students at Baytown Sterling, they staged a walkout, saying the school has become a dangerous environment and they're demanding the district to do something to keep them safe. Dr. Randall O'Brien, superintendent of Goose Creek CISD, released this statement addressing safety in the school district. It reads in part, quote, Goose Creek CISD takes student behavior very seriously and works diligently to address concerns as they arise. At the same time, our responses to student misconduct are guided and at times limited by state and federal law. These laws exist to protect students and families, even when outcomes are difficult to understand in the aftermath of tragedy, end quote. Arlen Cannon spoke with a longtime substitute teacher in that district who claims the superintendent does not take student behavior seriously. In fact, she says she took a warning to the superintendent's secretary last year after she says a student threatened to kill her.
I'm telling you right now, a child is going to get hurt, or a teacher is going to get hurt, or worse, they're going to get killed. They're going to lose their life if you guys do not change something right now. Right now. And that was my exact words.
What was their response to your warning about what could happen?
She wrote it down on a piece of paper and said, I'll give it to the superintendent. Thank you very much. Basically, have a good day.
And you never
acted like it was, never heard a word, not one word.
18-year-old Andre Matthews is expected back in court for another bond hearing next month. In the meantime, you can find more reaction from family members and district officials, plus a timeline of the events, all on our website, khou.com. Just days before Christmas, thieves stole decades of holiday decorations from an American Legion post in Channelview. What they didn't steal, though, was the spirit of the season. Katira Winfrey shows us how the community rallied to help veterans.
This American Legion post has been collecting Christmas decorations for decades, but in a matter of minutes, someone broke into a storage shed and stole all of it. Representatives said they sent out a text saying they needed replacement decor, and the community answered with a Christmas solution.
The spirit of the season still very much on display inside the American Legion Post 644, but the festive lights are a bit dim.
This time of the year, this place is decked out in Christmas decorations. Everything on the tables, with the bars covered in Christmas decorations. The back has all kinds of decorations.
There are a few decorations here and there, but what you see now is all newly donated. That's because thieves recently made off with decades worth of collected holiday decor.
I don't understand why people want to come take from us.
I don't understand why you would steal from veterans.
Commander Jerry Thayer and Vice Commander David Grimm believes the person responsible hopped the fence, ultimately prying their way into this back storage shed.
There's still some stuff in here, but all our Christmas decorations were in here and they stole all of it.
Thieves have stolen from here before, but never this. Thayer and Grimm say this American Legion and VFW post is a bright spot in what can be a lonely season.
Some of the veterans don't have other family around here. We are their family, and it's a big deal.
So to ensure festive feel, members stepped up, bringing in replacement trees, lights, and holiday spirit.
Very happy that they donated to us this year.
Representatives here at the American Legion say they'll be just fine moving forward, but the best way you can show your support is just to pop in and say hello. Reporting in Channelview, Katira Winfrey, KHOU 11 News.
That's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Cheryl Mercedes.
I'm Adriana Alexander. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Fort Hood is making Army history. For the first time ever, the United States Army is working with Canada and Mexico at the same time to prepare for any radiological disaster, and the training for it happened at Fort Hood. Texas Today reporter Brandon Coate has the story.
Before the main event, Army forces from America, Canada, and Mexico are preparing for what lies ahead.
Making sure they have everything.
It's a morning filled with drills preparing for any worst-case scenario.
They're going to be given tasks, and then based on the importance of the task, they're going to do that at a priority.
From rescuing car crash victims during disasters to rescuing people in tunnels.
That's honestly what they're going to see in the if something would happen. If there was a detonation and a building collapse, this is what they're going to face, and we do the best to replicate.
American troops are collaborating with Canada and Mexico for an annual training called Fuerzas Amigas, which means friendly forces.
Not a lot of installations have something this magnitude.
Now on to American history. Hired actors are portraying how victims would act in a fallout of a radiation disaster. All three countries are training together for the first time.
For us to train together, this multinational exercise allows us to be interoperable with our techniques, our equipment.
To get them through decontamination tanks. Along with dummies to act as injured civilians.
What we want to walk away is to hand off techniques and procedures off to the next unit that takes on this mission.
And to make sure North America is prepared for any emergency.
So it's important for us to be able to train and respond and mitigate the suffering, save human lives, and protect our property here in the homeland.
Now, this was just one day of training that lasted over a 10-day period earlier this month from December 6th to December 15th. Sunday marked 1 year since a man drove into the Killeen Mall JCPenney, injuring several people. During a police chase, investigators say a DPS trooper tried to stop John Darrell Schultz near I-35 and I-14, but he refused and drove into the mall parking lot. Schultz then drove the front doors of JCPenney, traveling hundreds of yards through the store and mall, striking multiple people. A DPS trooper and a Killeen Police Department officer followed the vehicle inside and shot Schultz, killing him at the scene. 5 people were hit and injured. Today, the community remembers the incident and the lives forever impacted. A family of 4 got just the greatest gift for Christmas, and it's a home. Family Promise of Bell County, along with Clayton Homes, revealed a brand new transitional home for families struggling with homelessness. The home provides peace and stability for those experiencing homelessness. Parents are able to keep kids in school while continuing to work. Plus, Family Promise works with the families to provide ongoing support and help them save up for their future.
This is the perfect Christmas gift for one of the families we've been working with for about a year elsewhere in the community. And so this will be a very Merry Christmas for them, as there's a tree with some presents, but also a home that they can sleep in. They can do their own cooking, do their laundry. They have beds and just a place where they can thrive and move forward.
A family of 4 moved in this past week, and to greet them inside was a Christmas tree with presents from Santa waiting. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Ebony Coleman. A Beaumont man is behind bars on a $1 million bond. He's accused of putting a baby in the hospital. We want to warn you, the details of this case are difficult to listen to due to their violent nature. Howard Walker is charged with a single count of injury to a child. That's a first-degree felony. It comes after Beaumont police say a 1-year-old came into the Baptist hospital with severe injuries. We spoke to 20's reporter Daniela Taboada-Plow, met with Beaumont police about the case.
Staff at the hospital stated that the child had life-threatening injuries that were consistent with blunt force trauma, and that she was barely alive when she made it to the hospital.
Barely alive. That's how Beaumont Police Officer Chancellor Van Houten described a 1-year-old who is now fighting for her life.
Child abuse is a serious matter. It's not something that we play around with.
Police believe this man, Howard Walker, burned and beat the toddler. They say she's the daughter of Walker's girlfriend who was left in his care earlier this week, along with a 3-year-old who was unharmed. Police say Walker told them several stories.
That had been reported as having an allergic reaction.
According to an arrest warrant, Walker said he iced her injuries but didn't provide an explanation for them. He also told police he wasn't at home at the time, and other claims police say they debunked. A tough story Marianne Tanner says she hears often.
It's hard. Abusers come in every form, shape, gender, age, every socioeconomic group.
Tanner is the executive director of the Garth House, a nonprofit dedicated to breaking the cycle of child abuse. She says prevention can be difficult, but reporting abuse is critical.
There isn't a set definition of someone that would abuse a child. It happens in a split second usually.
The Garth House provides free counseling services for both children and their parents.
We don't rush the children through counseling services. We don't say you've got 8 slots and then your counseling's over. We gauge it per child, and everybody heals different.
That was Daniela Taboada-Plow reporting. Again, BPD tells us that 1-year-old is fighting for her life in a Houston hospital. And a correctional officer at the Larry Gist State Jail now faces criminal charges. Investigators say she smuggled in drugs. According to a probable cause affidavit released by Judge Mark Deruin, Aisha Thomas brought paper laced with PCP into the jail. Staff later found the paper and questioned her. Investigators say she admitted she was promised over $1,200 to deliver the illegal items. And a Nederland man has been indicted in connection with the death of an inmate at the Jefferson County Jail. Jail officials say Kenneth Trapp was trying to stop a fight between 2 inmates. According to the indictment, Dosubin Dorsey hit Trapp on the head, and Chief John Schalkberger says Trapp later died at the hospital from his injuries. At the time, Dorsey was in the jail for violating a probation on a robbery charge. And a Port Arthur house caught fire, caused major damage, but everyone made it out safely. It happened in the 1100 block of 9th Street. Officials say the fire started in the home's pantry and then spread. But luckily, a grandmother and her four grandchildren, were able to get out before firefighters got to the scene. Fire officials say the cause of the fire remains unknown. And as we count down to Christmas, one Southeast Texas nonprofit and its volunteers are putting Southeast Texans first by making sure local children in need have presents under their tree. Now, some other place handed out gifts donated to its Christmas Giving Tree program. It helps low-income families during the holidays. This year, they played Santa for over 1,200 kids. Each child got 2 gifts, so they handed out about 2,500 presents. Kaylin McCarter, the special project director for Some Other Place, says helping those in need during Christmas is incredibly rewarding.
It's a really rewarding job. Everybody, wants to give things away, and especially at Christmas time, to be able to make somebody's holiday season. I've gotten calls, and it's like, you don't know how much this means to me. My babies wouldn't have got anything. So really just hearing that feedback is so heartwarming.
Carter says 95% of the presents handed out are funded by donors. She says their efforts are a year-round thing, and they're always looking for volunteers. And those were your headlines from Southeast Texas.
I'm Vanessa Croy, and this is the news in San Antonio. San Antonio's police chief says a complicated chain of events led to a shooting involving an officer. It happened on the south side, but it started Saturday afternoon off Ann Arbor Drive near South Zarzamora, where officers say a man was smashing the windows of a car that belonged to his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. Fearing for her safety, the woman then called a co-worker to pick her up, but police say when they got to her workplace, the man was already there waiting. Well, the woman and her co-worker tried to get away, but police say the suspect chased after them and then rammed into the back of their car. An officer nearby then heard gunshots, raced to the scene, and fired back. The suspect was hit in the shoulder and taken to the hospital. Police say he's expected to be okay, but they're still trying to figure out who fired that shot. Well, after treatment in the hospital, the suspect will then be placed into police custody. Deputies raid a West Side home and discover a stash of drugs and stolen guns. And the sheriff's office says it all started with the pursuit off Highway 90. According to the sheriff's office, last Friday, deputies tried to stop a car near Highway 90 in Hunt Lane, but the driver, identified as Michael Morales, refused to pull over. The chase ended when deputies say Morales slammed into another car and then bailed out, trying to run away. But investigators say he didn't get too far. Investigators say they found meth inside his car, and BCSO says a search of his home led to an even bigger haul, another stash of meth along with 17 guns. 4 of those guns, deputies say, were stolen. They also recovered ghost guns, Glock switches, and a rifle suppressor. Morales is facing a long list of charges, and deputies say more charges could be coming soon. 4 years have passed since 3-year-old Lena Sardar Keel disappeared from a Northwest Side apartment complex. Her family is still searching for answers, and they came together to honor her memory on Saturday. Pam Allen with the nonprofit Eagles Flight San Antonio has stood by Lena's family since she vanished from a playground at that North Side apartment complex on December 20th, 2021. Allen says that they learned new details from police and the FBI in the case, including a man who was a person of interest. This man allegedly has a past history of child sex abuse charges and is now in jail. That man lived in the same apartment complex at the same time Lena disappeared. And then in February of 2024, Allen says a tip came in that Lena's remains might be in a wooded area off Gardendale, not far from where she vanished, but that tip ended up not having any value.
Did not know, and what was just told to us this past week is that there were 3 other extensive searches for Lena that involved SAPD, FBI, BCSO, the DA's office, and the medical examiner's office.
Ellen also tells us that according to San Antonio police, she says there aren't any other persons of interest in the case, and now the case is classified as pending. Lena's father, though, says although it's been 4 long years, they have not forgotten about Lena and will continue searching for her and answers into her disappearance. The family asking for prayers to help find her. If you know where she is, if you've seen her, call San Antonio Police's Missing Persons Unit or Crime Stoppers. Bexar County commissioners voted in favor of public funding for migrant legal services. But as KENS 5's Megan Reyna reports, Bexar County commissioners are divided over that vote.
Saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No.
He was the lone no on Tuesday. Bexar County Precinct 3 Commissioner Grant Moody once again concerned with the decision to continue funding immigration legal services through the nonprofit American Gateways. This time, about $500,000 was reallocated towards the organization.
The reality is there's no restrictions, no constraints on who can participate in that program. So you have a program using taxpayer dollars that are potentially keeping violent repeat offenders here in the United States, defending them from deportation, and that's just crazy.
Moody says he asked multiple times for a way to ensure no one with a criminal history is receiving services. On Tuesday during court, an attorney with American Gateways said right now their clients consist of 6 children.
The vast majority of our clients, like I mentioned, are families, children who were arrested while lawfully attending immigration court proceedings.
The county first began funding legal services for immigrants facing deportation in May of 2024, setting aside $1 million that was split between 2 nonprofits, including American Gateways. The initiative was led by Commissioner Justin Rodriguez.
We're not making an adjudication as a court, as a commissioner's court, on who is here legally or not. What we're simply saying is there is a process that needs to happen. And through that process, they need to be represented by someone with some expertise.
Bexar County was the second county in Texas to create this type of fund, the first, Harris County, in 2020. But just last month, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit against Harris County for its program. Moody believes Bexar County will become Paxton's next target.
We already know that the state's going to win, and we're going to just waste more taxpayer dollars playing this game in Austin.
We can't be paralyzed by threats, by political threats. I think we have to focus on what is the right thing from a policy perspective to do for our community.
Megan Reyna, KENS 5.
County leaders say the current funding will last through the end of February, when commissioners plan to revisit the program and decide what comes next. OSHA is now investigating the death of a construction worker who fell from a lift and died on the city's northwest side. The man has been identified as 45-year-old Emilio Macarena Rodriguez. He died on Thursday at the site of the $10 million Holiday Inn hotel built at the Rim. Officials say he fell off a lift on the work site. OSHA says, as procedure, it will be on site conducting an inspection as part of their investigation. And that is the news in San Antonio.
I'm Bill Churchwell in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening right here in South Texas. With a little help from HEB and Santa, a local family's wish came true.
Okay, Private Vera, come to the stage and come say hi to your family here today. Thank you for your service.
It was a holiday surprise this Corpus Christi family will never forget. During HEB's Feast of Sharing event, Marine David Vetta reunited with his family after being away for several months. Actually, since the day after his 18th birthday when he enlisted. His mother says while his brother and sister missed him deeply, they are extremely proud of him and now thankful to spend the holidays together.
We got to see our Marine today, my son David Vera. He turned 18 June 7th and left June 8th. I know Ileana, that was her first wish for Santa. That was the top of her wish list for Santa that she wrote down. What was it, baby? David. To have David home. So I know we're really grateful just to enjoy each other's company, honestly.
For this family, the holiday season now begins with full hearts and the joy of being together again. For decades, the Texas tarpon has been a captivating mystery for many. And if a fisherman caught one, it even gave them some bragging rights. But that has now changed. Experts say overfishing and issues with the habitat itself are to blame for a decline in its population. Natalia Osuna reports.
When President Franklin D. Roosevelt came to Port Aransas on a fishing trip in 1937, tarpon was all the rage.
It's not every day you can see the President of the United States land a big fish. It's not every day he catches one, even on a fishing trip to the Gulf. But that great 80-pound tarpon they're landing is enough to make any angler's heart glad and his cup of joy run over. Oh, only a little one, eh?
But those glory days are now over, as the coastal Bend's tarpon population has gone down. Avid fisherman John Blaha with the Coastal Conservation Association says tarpon is hard to find.
It's been something that's been in my blood all the time.
He says it's not like it used to be.
Part of the tourist economy in Port Aransas was a tarpon. If you go to the Tarpon Motel and to their lobby, they got a whole wall and it's all just tarpon scales that people put up there dating back probably to the 30s, 40s.
Dr. Matt Strike at the Hart Research Institute is leading a study looking at juvenile tarpon populations in the area.
In Texas, there's really no information on what constitutes good habitat for juvenile tarpon.
Putting in a lot of hours of field work.
Doing some mark recapture tagging, just putting in like a microchip, a pit tag, kind of like your pet would get. And when we recapture a fish, we scan it and we can see if it's been caught before or not.
During that field work, Dr. Strike and his team also focus on data collection.
We're looking at growth rates and combining all that information, occurrence, abundance, and growth, we can try to get an estimate of what's good versus low quality habitat for future conservation efforts.
Dr. Strike says catch and release is the best practice nowadays, and Blaha agrees, encouraging other local fishermen to be mindful on the water.
It's a sport fish. Let's respect that and let's take care of them.
Natalia Osuna, 3 News.
And that's a look at some of what's happening in South Texas.
Hi, I'm Ayana Aird, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. If you're looking to trade traffic lights for twinkling lights this holiday season, there's a train ride in East Texas that turns a simple trip into pure Christmas magic, complete with familiar faces, festive sounds, and plenty of cheer. CBS 19's Robert De La Garza takes you inside the Polar Express.
The Polar Express is based on the movie featuring Tom Hanks, based on the story by Chris Van Allsburg. 21 years ago they started the franchise, and we have been doing it for 20 years. The journey, as in the movie, is to the North Pole. The book and the story will be told on the train. There will be the dancing chefs, as there is in the movie, and the waiters, and there will be special characters from the movie. And if everyone believes and has wishing faces, then Santa may jump on board and present the very first gift of Christmas to each child. And it's a beloved and treasured story by so many, and so many come and start with their children when they're 2 years old. We've got families that have been coming for 20 years. I think there's a lot to be said about tradition, and we're happy to offer that to all of our guests.
Yeah, this is our 5th year, so we've been coming since she was a baby, so we've just been coming. It's kind of a family tradition at this point.
It's promoted throughout the years as a children's event, but what we've seen in the past 5 years is we actually have more adults that attend.
We all grew up watching the movie ever since we were in kindergarten, and also my mom, we would come so excited from school. Yeah, it's just having that kid feeling, especially around the holidays. You don't get to feel that anymore once we're an adult.
That's definitely exactly how it feels. You watch as a kid growing up and then putting it on for him and seeing him enjoy it and seeing the train ride and everything. It's just awesome.
One East Texas organization is giving back this holiday season. Mission Carthage hosted their annual Christmas Blessings toy giveaway, helping make the holidays brighter for families across Panola County. It was held at the First Methodist Church of Carthage. This annual toy giveaway is a lifeline for over 100 families in the area, giving them the chance to put a gift under the tree for their children this year. More than 400 children were signed up to receive gifts. Organizers say the event helps ease holiday financial financial stress for families and make sure children don't miss out on Christmas morning joy. Every toy was donated by the community. And an East Texas nonprofit is spreading warmth and hope this holiday season to some of the community's most overlooked neighbors. Hunger for Love hosted its annual Christmas Under the Bridge event, bringing food, fellowship, and festive fun to people of all ages. For 15 years, the space beneath the Gentry Parkway Bridge has transformed into a festive celebration. It's become a place of connection, compassion, and community. They provided food, games, music, and new toys to kids who need it most. Each year, Hunger for Love gathers volunteers and neighbors alike to share a warm meal, laughter, and the spirit of the season, reminding everyone that no one is forgotten.
If they don't have hope, they don't have anything. When we try to give them that hope, we try to give them that family, that relationship, and make them feel like they're part of the community, because a lot of times they're overlooked and they're not. They're part of the family too.
The ministry says the goal is to spread love and to make sure the holidays feel a little brighter for everyone. I'm Ayana Aird, and that's a wrap for your East Texas News headlines.